I'm like,
and
why do
we're
you do
taping
that?
now.
Oh, we're taping.
Yep.
Oh.
So hello.
Hey.
It's fine.
So
Sorry.
it wasn't taping before?
No.
Before I said the...
Yeah,
okay, good.
We're good.
So anyway, so I'm like, turn it on again. And then,
Agree with that.
because Ricky leaves these everywhere. And by the way, he sends you his love.
Yes.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I am back to the land of the living.
That's right.
I think it has a lot more to do with the fact that my in-laws left on Sunday than it did with me actually recovering. Because funny how quickly I recovered when they left.
I hope they're not watching.
Like they'd be watching.
It's possible. Apparently my mom's watched the show once or twice.
Fudge.
Who knew?
It's all for the show.
That's right.
Our producer makes us talk like this. Fudge.
What's ringing?
That's probably your mother. Wait a minute.
I thought we turned everything off. Sorry.
Yes, we did. How the hell does it do that?
Apparently we're being featured on the homepage of Stickam.
Sweet, yay.
Wow.
Oh,
neat.
Cougar Mama's gonna be busy today. Cyber bouncer to the stars.
Right.
Okay. So we've been watching a lot of the Mingle Media shows.
Mm-hmm.
You know, looking for the happy.
That's right.
Looking for the happy. That's what we've been doing. And not bad. Yeah, not bad.
We're finding some happy.
Finding some happy.
Yep.
Okay, how do we want to do this? Have you read the blog today? Have you been reading it all week? We've been talking about happiness. Not only are we talking about happiness, we wrote a manifesto, which is not as easy as it sounds.
Yeah, we really get insane to do it.
The thing is that, you know, when we write, we usually write like at least 5 days a week. And the stuff we write comes up pretty easily. You know, I mean, at least for me it does, because a lot of the stuff we write about is stuff that I've worked with clients for years on, and so, you know, the thoughts are already there, you know, and the natural sense of humor, which is me.
You're right, yes.
The je ne sais quoi of me, you know.
Right.
No, come on, shut up. Well, no, it does take him a lot longer to write because, you know, he just doesn't have the me-ness of it.
That's right. It's true.
It's true.
It's true.
It's true.
Gosh,
it's so cute. Anyway, we kissed on TV. We're not supposed to do that.
I think kissing's okay. It's the other stuff that could get us in trouble.
It's true. Where your hands are usually.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so we wrote the manifesto. Why did we do it? Well, okay. Paul, when did you do this? About less than a month ago. We had been talking about happiness. Now, there's a bunch of people out there writing about happiness. Some lady published a book called The Happiness Project. And I'm not going to give her too many props, mainly because I'm okay with it. I'm not really like all...
I mean, I give her props for the idea of pushing happiness forward. There's some stuff that we don't necessarily think it's the best logic. No.
She has a lot of stuff about being outside of yourself and
about being inside yourself.
No. Not about creating. I mean, she's like all about giving it out, and I'm not saying that I'm not about that. I'm just saying that you can't maintain happiness only out of doing.
Right.
And the way that she has a lot of it set up is a lot of doing, and we're very committed in concentrating on the being of happiness. Now, I know that sounds all fluffy and hippie shit, but
it gets worse.
It gets worse because, you know, once we start reading those things, I mean, you know, for those of you who have known us, or for those of you who, you know, ever play with us, we get really deep. We get so deep that, you know, our ears bleed, and you know, we get the bends and the whole bend. Yeah. So we get into the nitty-gritty of it. So then, after we saw that, Paul decided to create a Facebook page.
Yeah. And honestly, it was really just to give us something to talk about.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to go too far, so I did...
We never expected the manifesto.
Yeah, right. I did 1 million people committed, who are committed to being happy.
Right.
Now, like I said, didn't expect too much. I figured if Justin Bieber can get 1 million people who think he's whatever, like, you know, a person. I don't know what they meant.
Male.
Yeah, a male. Right. And let's see, you've got 1 million people who love Jesus, and you've got let's say 1 million people who
think this pickle is more important than something.
Yeah, I mean that we should be able to get 1 million people who think that who are committed to being happiness.
Well, guess what?
We didn't.
You can't.
Yeah.
You know why? Well, we put this out there. Immediately we get a bunch of our friends sign up, and they're all gung ho and joking and fun about it. Then we get the one person who not only decides not to join, but has to send Paul a letter about why she can't join. And how dare you?
And it wasn't just her. There was
wait, but this one, this is the important one.
Right.
This is the one that makes me go, what the fuck? She starts with this. God, I wish we would have printed it because it was so stupid. Not that I'm judging. It just, my opinion on somebody that I've had since I've met her 20-something years ago.
Possibly watching also. So.
Gotta stop saying those
things. Yeah, right.
Nobody watches this show.
Yeah.
That's the point of this. This is just me talking. Anyway, so she said that how can you be happy with all this shit going on in the world, and the IRS and the economy and all this other stuff. And
now I want to say, especially if she is watching, I'm very grateful for this email.
Oh yeah,
because it really got us thinking. Because, like I said, she wasn't the only one who had this opinion. We started getting a lot more conversation on this, and it was, how can you be happy when there's so much misery out there? How can you be happy when people are duping you? The media and advertising and all that. We are a pawn to the world, man. The man's got us down and all this other stuff. Then they start pointing out stuff in our lives. It's like, how can you be happy when your daughter is multiply handicapped? How can you be happy when, Yeah.
Well, honestly, and the answer to that is, what's the alternative? Be miserable? Right. To just decide that, oh, wow, I'm fucked. I'm never going to get any happier. So I might as well just hope for little glimpses of contentment throughout my miserable life, and then die alone and crying in a ball.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'd rather not go out that way. Now granted, if you would have caught me in my late teens, early 20s, I was all about that. I was just, dripping with angst. The world was screwed. I was the only one that knew that was going on. But I grew out of that. And I grew out of that, and I realized I don't have to be that. I don't have to be what everybody else was during that time. In the late 80s, in Los Angeles, where, it's like if you weren't listening to the Smiths on a loop, just what you just weren't living. And
it's weird. Actually, I was not that.
No.
I was happy. Yes. I mean, I was that crazy kind of listening to
Jungle
ELO. Jungle. Love that song. Nobody else is gonna know it unless you are a fan of ELO. Sorry, but happy music.
Glazed.
Happy
just completely
music.
Glazed look right here.
Yeah, like moronically happy.
Yes. Mr. Blue Skies. Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't listen to things like that.
I did.
I listened to The Cure and the Smiths and Annie Lennox singing mournfully and all that. That's what I liked. Yeah. Things not from this country, because this country sucked.
Yes, right.
That was my. Yes. But as I got older, and obviously I was married to, Mr. Happy here. And, I did some therapy, realized that, this is my choice. This is the bottom line. The only difference between me and him was that I was choosing to be a sad sack, and he was choosing to be, giddy man, And that's a big deal. That's like one of those like paradigm shift kind of things in your mind. Like all of a sudden when you realize that you're not happy because you've chosen not to be, that opens up like this, I don't know, brand new world, brand new possibility of what life can be. And that's pretty much when we started saying, okay, that's it. That was like 1991.
Yeah, right.
A long time ago, guys.
Yes, it was.
I mean, that was 20 years ago. So we've been doing this for 20 years. The idea of choosing to be happy.
Right.
And it's not like stuff hasn't happened to us.
Yeah, you choose your path.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like, we have gone through much stuff. And, our daughter definitely has taken her toll on us. But, still have to be happy. I mean, remembering, Paul coming home from work and feeding her, and here she's like 9 months old, and he's feeding her and she's barely moving. She could talk because she was freaky, but you knew she wasn't seeing much, and you knew that she wasn't moving around too much, but it was like this, what are you going to do about it? And so we joked, and we laughed, and we cried, and we did what we needed to do to get through that time, and she has a vision problem. This is where you came up with the word lop-eyed.
Yes.
And I'm like, he says lop-eyed, and I'm like, I think I've heard lop-eared.
Right.
But and the thing is, you can't really tell. Her eyes, jiggle a little bit.
Yeah.
But back then, they jiggled a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like, I mean, the point is that we could have been very miserable.
Oh, yeah.
We could have been... and and this is not necessarily a comment on people who suffer from clinical depression or anything like that. However, I will say to you as a professional, I will say to you as somebody who has suffered from depression in the past and been medicated, and this was a long time ago, that there is a distinct difference between being clinically depressed, okay, and not being able to pull yourself out of that, and then needing the help of medication to help you pull yourself out of that, and someone who enjoys throwing themselves back in the crap.
Yes.
Okay? People who are clinically depressed can benefit from learning how to be happy. One of the things one of my professors said a million gajillion years ago was that when you're clinically depressed, do things that non-depressed people do. And then it's like, of course, when you're depressed, you're like, well, what the hell's that? You exercise, you go out with your friends, you do life-affirming things.
Right, fun stuff.
You make plans for the future.
Right.
This is what people do. And then you immediately start rewiring and making new connections in your brain, because you have to be able to see into the future.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm talking too much. Anyway, so
we decided to write a manifesto.
Right.
With all of this, you just got all the background. We decided to not just talk about how happy we are, but actually go to war with misery.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we use
the word. It's not just misery. Go to war with contentment, because that's really what pisses me off more than anything else. You know why that pisses me off more than anything else? Because I used to say that. And it triggers the hell out of me, because that was me. You know what I mean? Nothing pisses you off more than shit that you used to do.
That's right.
So I remember when I first started getting the feel of happiness, it was, wow, I could really be content in life. And I thought that was amazing. I thought that, okay, good. I can go from sad sack to content.
Yeah.
Content is what?
You're skipping ahead, though.
Yeah, I know, but I don't. This is important. This is important
go
because
for it then.
see, It's right there in the manifesto. It's like right on the top.
Okay, go for it.
Being content is what? It's okay. Mm-hmm. Things are okay. Content is I got what I need, sort of. Meh. It's meh. It's how's life? Is it good, bad? No, it's in the middle. It's right. It's not good. It's not bad. It's content. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like I don't have too much. Mm-hmm. I don't have too little. It's kind of like Goldilocks in this weird, I don't know, way of being house that, it's like, okay, is this, too happy? Is this too sad? No, it's just right. And it's not just right. There is no such thing as just right. And contentment only lasts a moment. And because then after that, you're either hungry or you need to go to the bathroom. And that just messes with contentment, doesn't it?
Of course.
Contentment is sitting on the couch and you have everything you need and something good on TV.
Contentment doesn't move you forward.
No. Contentment actually, what it does is it just cements you to where you are.
Right.
Anybody who's been there and has had a job that's been okay. It's not great. It's just okay. Then you're content. Yeah, you're content with it. Yeah. It's a moment that something like sparks something under your ass and you decide, you know what, I need more money. You know what, I'm not okay being middle management. I want to be the boss. That's where your happiness is going to lie. When you're moving forward and you're doing something that stretches you.
Right.
That's the happiness. That's where you go, wow, I'm fucking amazing.
Exactly.
That's a great feeling.
Yes.
That's like the best feeling. And that's not, what we've tended to come to feel is that happiness is something very fleeting. That I'm in the moment, I'm very happy. And then like the next moment, no, I'm okay. I'm better now.
Right, yes.
You've already popped the champagne. So it's like, okay, now I'm just settling into content.
That's right.
And no. It's the idea of bringing that feeling forward and just keeping it with you. That, right under the surface giddy feeling. That's what we're talking about.
And by the way, Steph, you should be saying that. I think you're
fucking amazing. Too. Effing amazing?
Effing.
I'm assuming the word is fuck.
I don't say that on TV.
On TV. Okay. Whatever. However, he tries to say it on the radio almost every single week.
Yes, I have problems with that one.
Okay, but here where
no.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
I got bobos.
Oh no.
So anyway, so that's the point of the happiness stuff.
That's right.
I get all worked up about this.
As you should.
Because it's a manifesto.
Right.
I feel like going out there and like, lighting shit on fire.
Well, that's what we were saying. It's like Unabomber crazy. Yeah. It's not easy to take, Hare Krishna, ooh, I'm so happy, and match it with, Unabomber craziness. But we did it. I think we did.
Being that, okay, in the last month we have gone to see Krishna Das. Well, I've gone to see Krishna Das, who is a Hindu chanter that I adore. And if you've done yoga at any point in your life, when you're in there, you're probably listening to Krishna Das because he's got this very deep, soulful voice, and I just adore him. And I got to see him, and I got to chant with him for 2.5 hours. And not only that, got to hug him afterwards, and he's just a sweetie pie and funny and wonderful. And then like the week later, we got to see the Dalai Lama. Mm-hmm. So writing this manifesto from this point of view of you can be a radical hippie.
Right.
But not that kind that's going to like go release animals, but like bringing that I don't know, organic, happy feeling through the rest of your stuff, and
getting grassroots on this. Yeah. There is we want to take happiness from the passive to the active.
Right.
And we want to get it out there.
And honestly, this is our response to being bombarded by people like Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh and all this. And you're talking to people who, used to vote Republican at some point in their life. And It's quite impossible to be that way and be happy anymore, because it's like now we've all become a country of sad sacks. We've all become a country of fearmongers and all that. And all of this, I'm just going to throw in my 2 cents. All of this is the reaction, post 9/11 reaction, and I called it the day that it happened.
Oh yeah, easy.
And I said, I said to Paul, I go, whether we understand this or not, no matter what kind of upswelling of patriotism this is going to cause, this country is going to go through a period of mourning and post-traumatic stress. And what we are going through now, both economically and spiritually in this country, is that. And, what I urge people is not to take it so fucking seriously.
Yes.
Because really that is what's going on. The fervor, the middle America fervor about going back to the way it used to be and blah blah blah. Well, it wasn't great the way it used to be. Women were more oppressed. I just say more oppressed because we're still oppressed. Blacks didn't have any rights. What way do you want to go back to?
Right.
What do you want to go back to? So it's not, there wasn't a happier time. If you want to go back to the 50s, you're in the middle of the Cold War. It was frickin' terrifying. Yes. You had air raid drills. People lived under the specter of annihilation every single day. Where's happy there? Simple? I don't think that was simple either, because I remember air raid drills in the 70s.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
this wasn't simple.
Right. That's just that weird myopia that you have when you look into the past.
There was no happier time.
Right.
Now is the happy time, because you say so.
Yep.
So we're calling people to arms. Okay? It is a breaking of the victim mentality. And we've talked about this on the show many times.
Yes, we have. And we will talk about it some more and more because
the victim mentality. The victim mentality is what's doing this to us. It's the
victims are never happy.
No, it can't be.
By definition,
you can't be happy.
Right.
How can you be happy if there's the IRS and the economy and gas prices are going up? Well, actually, that was one of the things that this person said.
Right.
That gas prices were going up again. And and shit that doesn't, that makes me angry when I'm driving around and I see it inching up like a penny a day. It's like, damn, not again. But that can't dictate whether or not I'm going to be happy.
Right.
And especially those of you who have children out there. Please.
Yeah.
Okay, I was having a bad day this week, I will admit. And, it's like, even though I know that it was one of those, PMS days, that I was not in control of me, I take responsibility for the stuff I create, okay? Because I can't be happy and not take responsibility. Okay?
Exactly.
So, because it's like, okay, if I don't take responsibility for the crap that I create, then I can't take responsibility for the happiness I create. So I got to take responsibility for all of it. So anyway, we had to take the car in to go get fixed.
And I will say, I was supposed to take it in the morning, and I was just too tired to. I didn't want to. And the stupid car broke down later on in the day.
When I was driving it. So, yeah, not happy.
No.
Hormonally challenged. So we take it in, and of course, not only are we taking it in, we have everybody with us. We had Jeannie,
all the kids,
17-year-old, the 6-year-old, and the 3-year-old. So we're at the mechanic place late in the afternoon, and what do they have on the TV? The History Channel. I think wonderful.
Yeah.
At least they're going to learn something. Until I saw what was on the TV, and it was this thing about Nostradamus and 2012 and the most insane pile of crap I've ever seen in my life. Now, I'm a very esoteric kind of fluffy kind of girl. I believe in psychic stuff and I believe in all of those things. When it comes to Nostradamus, I kind of draw the line. Why? Because You know, I've been around for 40-something years. And it seems like whenever, I mean, especially with living in California, Nostradamus predicted the big one, and it was this year, no, it was the next year, no, it was the next year. So you grow up with I grew up with Nostradamus all the time.
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
being right any minute now.
Yeah, it's like, and then the great land, you know, is going to fall into the ocean after the earthquakes and all this stuff. I lived in Los Angeles for 30 years. And my understanding is it's still there. So, you know, Nostradamus fail on that one. Yeah. You know, but then, you know, it's like, but it would become the next year or 2 years from now. So, anyway, so they're watching this, and, you know, and I'm watching this with different eyes this time. You know, before it was just this dismissive of, and then watching it from the point of view of, this is what human beings do to stay unhappy. The looking for stuff out there to justify being miserable.
This was his cosmic and possibly divinely inspired victimness.
Yeah, he used the stars to tell you, you know, and then
you're screwed.
That you're screwed.
That's
and then it's like, you know, they showed these 3 half moons, you know, and that there were the 3 eclipses, you know, but they were moon eclipses, and it was pretty obvious they were moon eclipses, but then they made them all different things. Anyway, the point being that these guys spent an hour talking about how we are so screwed.
Yeah.
We are so
Nostradamus says,
yeah,
we are so screwed.
Right. And a man during his time, you know, that nobody listened to him anyway, that we have to give him complete control of our lives.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he knew. Not that he's been right.
No.
You know, he's kind of like one of those psychics that does like cold readings and, you know, and a show, and he does that. I'm sensing an M. Does anybody have anybody with an M? You know,
I have an N. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, N. Yeah, I couldn't. You know, it's like, oh, you know, it has, you know, very maternal energy, but it's a man. Oh, but he was very, very close to you and nurtured you a lot. You know, that kind of stuff. That's what it was. And so anyway, the point of this is that we can find so many reasons not to be happy. You know, it's not that difficult.
And that's a choice.
And that is your choice. If you have to go and search for reasons to be unhappy, you know,
wouldn't it just be easier to search for reasons to be happy?
No. How about just don't look for those things. Ignore them. I'm just going to say ignore them. Things like, you know, things like, oh, that guy pisses me off. Who cares? Lots of people piss me off. Trust me. I drive in Miami. Lots of people piss me off. If I were to go through that, I mean, now, Paul and I have been in large discussions for a good 9 months now about leaving Miami.
Yes.
Because we can't take it anymore. And
sorry, Miami.
But the idea is, you know, we are going to enjoy what time we have left here.
Yes. And we remind each other of that.
And remind each other of that, because if not, we will create misery for ourselves. Right. We'd like to move back to the West Coast. We will move back to the West Coast. But we can't have that be our primary thought, because then we'll just be miserable here.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So I just kind of skipping around. I don't know whether we're going to go over, but one of the big things in the manifesto: happiness is not the opposite of sadness.
No. Or
anger or any of these other things. From a neurological point of view, you can actually, they did brain scans, and happiness fires a different area of the brain than sadness does. So it's not like it's just a turned off kind of thing.
They're not diametrically opposed.
Right. You can do both at the same time. You can be angry and happy. As a matter of fact, I have many times been angry and happy. Have you, my love? You can rather enjoy your anger. There has been many a times in the car where it was rather pleasant to honk and scream and yell and, you know, break into some vocabulary.
The idea is that happiness is a companion emotion. It doesn't have to be the only thing that you've got going on. I mean, it's like if you've been at a funeral and you've laughed, talking about things that person did. Now,
Right.
you know, we've had some really tragic losses in the last couple of years, last few years of our lives. You know, young people passing, and in fact, we had one in December. She was only 38, and you know, I remember being at her funeral, and we spend most of our time giggling with people and talking and laughing. And since then, when we talk about her, you know, it is with laughter. And in fact, you know, the other day, one of our closest friends, Nadine, who was also close to her, was saying something, and she mentioned the woman who passed, Asha. She was like, you know, oh yeah, if Asha was around here, she'd be kicking my ass. And we just started laughing because it was true. And it was this very joyful moment of remembering something so beautiful, and yet in the midst of the tragedy. So that doesn't mean that we're not going to mourn her, because we mourn her. But there doesn't need to be mourning on the level of, you know, shutting the drapes and wearing black and basically putting ourselves in the grave with her. Which of course she would have hated in, you know, a lot. So, let's see, Ricky's not sleeping. So Paul is out there. Hello.
I'm sorry. Did you miss me?
I did, but you know what?
And
Since you're up,
too?
yeah, and coffee. I can have some coffee. So anyway, they're not opposed to each other. Now,
I can honestly say that I was both happy and sad that she passed.
oh yeah, no. When she died, we were both happy and sad because she had been sick for a long time. So it was like this, oh my God, she finally died, and yay, thank God she finally died and she doesn't have to suffer anymore. Not that this is all very happy conversation, but you know, this is stuff that happens. You know, and the older you get, the more it happens around you. And
that's when you start making the choices.
And that's where you start making the choice. You could either decide to you know, wallow in that pain and the mourning, or you could pull the happiness out of the sadness. And that was one of the things even that the Dalai Lama mentioned, because that was, he was even asked that question. I swear to God, I thought that was.
Okay.
What did he say?
Okay. Go lay down and go to sleep now.
So cute. The Dalai Lama was asked, it's like, you know, oh, you know, you can't be in your country and you've been exiled and you know, life is so horrible. How do you keep that smile on your face? And it was like, and you see his face like this, and he's funny because sometimes he's speaking in English and sometimes he changes languages and whatever, and then he also, you know, he goes through actually a couple of languages, and but you just see him with that look of, what a stupid question. And he's like, he goes, you pull the happiness out of the sadness. You stay in the present. You see, the more we stay in the present, this is the important point, the more we stay in the present, the more happiness we could pull out of the moment. Because you can't have happiness in the future, even though we always think that.
Yes.
Don't we? All of our happiness was either in the past, when we were kids. Oh my gosh. When I was a kid, everything was so wonderful.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. And
or in the future.
Or in the future. Oh my God, when we win the lottery, things are going to be wonderful.
That's right.
Yes.
That would work.
That would work.
Yeah. I mean, maybe be happy about it.
Dude, I'd be in LA tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
You?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, maybe later on today.
No, we'd have to like pack and stuff.
Oh, true. Okay,
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Or we'd have to wait till our kid gets home from school.
Yeah.
You would wait for her, wouldn't you? Maybe.
Yes. But until then, I'm also very happy to be keeping working. Yes. Yeah. I like what we do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I don't know, it's just different.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
So yeah, I am, I mean, that's one of the ones that we're actively working on. The idea of being happy now, where we are,
right,
and not projecting this pseudo happiness into the future. You know, yes, we could see that we would have probably more opportunities back in California. but this is where we are now, and we can't leave. And there's many reasons why we can't. It's like one of them, the big one, is our daughter. She graduates from high school next year.
Yes.
This is not. I mean, she goes to one of the best high schools in the country.
Right.
It's
We're
not
not
really
just going to yank her out because
it's not nice.
Mm-hmm.
And Ricky's playing with our
yes. Bells.
Bell things,
keep
our
the
little
bad
Buddhist
spirits away.
Our little Buddhist bells in the bedroom.
Whatever.
He's
not here. That's fine.
See? Happy. So, anyway, where are we?
I don't know.
Okay, what is happiness? Did we talk about this? We talked about this on the show before, but...
Yes. Yeah, we already... I mean, that was before we talked about it.
We talked about it before. But one of the things that we find is that people don't really know how to define it. And if you go into the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, they actually define it as lucky.
That's one of the definitions.
Lucky.
Yeah.
As happy. And I don't know about you, but that really just chafes me. That's like that's a horrible definition for happiness.
Right.
So in other words, if you're not lucky, you can't be happy.
See, that's one of the reasons why that also bothers me is because within literature and within society, lucky, smart people aren't lucky. People who know things aren't lucky. Luck goes to the ignorant.
Yeah.
Luck goes to the bumpkin. Luck goes to...
Yeah, the village idiot would win the lottery.
Right. That is where luck goes.
Which is screwed because we're far from the village idiots.
Yeah.
And here in Miami, it's kind of easier to pick them. Ooh, ow. I can't stop.
Come get us in trouble. But yeah, that's the... so... It feeds into the whole idea that if you only knew, you wouldn't be able to be happy.
Yeah, and that's really the bottom line. The if you only knew.
Right.
Because once you're feeling happy, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is going to come out of the woodwork and pull that on you. If you only knew, you wouldn't be happy. If you only knew what your cholesterol level was, you wouldn't be happy. If you only knew what was around the corner, you wouldn't be happy. It's this, and a lot of us have this, if not the great majority of people, have this feeling of impending doom. The waiting for the shoe to drop. The what is it? The world coming to crash down on you.
Oh yeah.
The rug being pulled out from under your feet. Then go to the bathroom, buddy.
Go to the bathroom.
Thank you. A lot of us have that feeling, and that comes from learning that from our parents. It's saving for a rainy day.
Yeah, that is definitely passed down.
It's passed down. We all have it. I mean, very few of us don't have it.
Right.
And those are because you either had parents who were completely psychotic or, you had visionary parents, But we all have the save it for a rainy day. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. I mean, these are things that we pass down like these are sage. These are like... Right. But when you really break them down, it's saying, tomorrow you're going to get screwed. So be careful today.
Right.
And the idea of,
Right. Don't put all your eggs in one basket means that egg's going to get broken.
Yeah.
If you only have one, you're screwed because it's gone.
Yeah.
Or probably gone. Mostly gone.
Oh, yeah. Well, give it some time. It'll go.
Yeah, right.
And...
Go ahead.
We got blurry? Oh, yes. Ooh. Good Lord. Maybe we shouldn't be drinking in the morning.
That's right.
We keep getting out of focus.
Yes. Go ahead. Anyhow. You were talking?
TV ADD, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. So do we want to go over the points of the...
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Where
are the fact that I don't put them on the computer because I think it's going to hurt something?
Yeah, that's right. Any minute now. That's it.
Okay.
So the things that you believe in, where are they?
Here.
They start here. Okay. Yeah. So the first one we talk about, are we going to actually just read them or just
I don't like
paraphrase?
reading.
Yeah. So we already talked about that the past wasn't any better, and the future, it's all
That's one of the things, like if you read like the manifestos and the other things from the tattoos.
Tattoos?
What about tattoos?
Yeah, why are you saying tattoos? You surprised me. Tattoos.
Yes, I have some.
Yes, you surprised me. Tattoos.
Are we supposed to be showing them now?
Excited.
Get them. Oh shit! Yeah, dude, that would be like the whole back here.
It's 2 pages. I could put on my chest.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to do that.
No,
I don't mind.
See, I have. Let's see. 1. There's another one. Holy shit!
Come on.
I can't even do this one. I can't do it. Anyway, I have my 4. My arm doesn't turn that way. And I've got 3 down my back and 1 on my butt. Oh yeah, I'll get the good parts.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh no, shit. The thing is that it's very long, so for me, I'd probably have to put it on my ass. It's probably the biggest part of me.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I bet you are.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Oh,
anyway,
okay. Let's see. So we're going for we choose.
Yes.
Okay. So happiness is a choice.
Yes.
Okay. We choose how we feel. You can get angry. It's like you can have all the other emotions, but you're still choosing whether or not you're going to be happy.
Right.
That's a really one of the big
it's like it's the idea that we have to permissitudes.
Yes.
Sure. One of the things that we've known forever, in the therapy field, is that we choose all of our emotions, and we choose how we're going to see something. And one of the reasons people go to therapy is to learn how to see things differently. And we come up with nice, quirky names for what we do, but the bottom line is the purpose of a therapist is to reframe what's going on with you, or what has gone on with you. And the bottom line is that, I could reframe basically anything to be positive. And if I could do that for a client, obviously I'm going to be able to do that for myself. Now, if I feel like, I'm like, deep in my murky existence, then I can't do it. Because I choose to be like, okay, years ago, Paul and I lived in Los Angeles. We both were born and raised there, and grew up and fell in love there and got married there. And in I think 91, we did some trainings there, and the training was called LifeSpring. And some parts of that stuff, great stuff. Other parts of that stuff, not so great stuff. But we did it.
Yep.
And one of the things they talked about, one of the things that we kept, in our little arsenal of stuff, was the idea that society drifts along.
Mm-hmm.
That we basically buy into the same bullshit, and we drift along, going, okay, think of it like like a parade of stuff, like everything just drifts along in the stream. And
actually, I think more of like Tom Sawyer on a raft.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because it goes back, it speaks back to that contentment idea. Mm-hmm. You're not really in
Don't
control.
rock the boat.
You're not right. You're just gonna float there, and if you don't sink, then
life's good.
Life's good.
Life's good. And the whole point is, things that we're told from very young, don't rock the boat. And that all has to do with the same imagery of, just, letting the current push you along.
Right.
We all want to believe that, the Middle East is bad, let that current push you along. After 9/11, all Muslims were bad, let that current push you along.
Right.
Anybody who thought differently would go against the current. People would get pissed, and then finally everybody would agree, yes, right, all Muslims are bad.
Yes.
Let that current just push you along. The whole idea of being miserable is the current is the drift that we live in. The whole idea of being sad, the whole idea of being filled with anxiety is part of that current, part of that drift that we have in our society. If you watch the news every day, you are part of that drift. If you have to know what's going on and you know what's going on with the health care bill. Now, granted, I know the news. I don't watch it. I definitely don't watch it. I'll read some of it, but I can't read it in big chunks because I don't want to be in that drift. So I'll know it almost like out of the peripheral vision, you know, so I'm not immersed in it. But, you know, it's like I know that the health care bill is going to go up for vote, but I'm not going to sit there and watch 20 hours of CNN covering this shit. I won't do it because it's not good for my psyche. It's not good for my soul to do those things. Because all it's going to do is just confirm the idea that we're so screwed.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So it's watching enough to know what's going on, but not getting involved in that drift. Because the idea of being happy means that at some point you need to stand up in that stream, go against that drift, and walk out of that stream.
Right.
Because you can't be happy otherwise. Because sooner or later they're going to push you down and bring you back into the drift.
Right.
That's just the way it is. You know, have you ever been like experienced, you know, some great thing and you're happy and everything's wonderful? Then there comes that one person, hey, you know, enjoy it while you can because tomorrow, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Tomorrow we die.
And then, you know, they're just like pushing you back in.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's like, oh. And then you wake up the next day and you're like, okay, I'm not that happy anymore, but I'm really pleased. And then you let the rest of the day get you dirty and you start getting involved in other things and that you know, start weighing you down.
Yeah.
And that's pushing you back into that stream of, okay, well, being content is good. Being content is quite enough.
Right.
You know what? I hope the most I can be is content. That's great. You know, and thinking that you've made some big spiritual stride by thinking that, you know.
Right.
Then you have the wackos who are high on something. Either they're high on drugs or they're high on some sort of fanatical thing.
Right.
Problem being, and one of the other problems with happiness is intrinsic. Happiness is on the inside.
Right.
Okay? Happiness doesn't come from the outside. And since happiness is a choice, obviously it's going to originate on the inside. So drugs cannot make you happy. Booze isn't going to make you happy. And this is going to be like get me in trouble again. Jesus isn't going to keep you happy. Okay? It'll make you happy for a moment, but then the next thing will come up, and then it's like, oh God, Jesus, help me again,
Right.
and oh God, Jesus, help me again, and this is not kicking the faith at all. This is about you can't rely your happiness on anything outside of you.
Right. Anything. And that includes,
that includes
God,
him
Jesus,
to me,
right,
and me to him,
right.
Because I mean, it's like as the other day showed you, I could turn on you when I die, and I do. Oh, yeah.
But that's, I mean, even at some point, something bad may happen, and you're not going to understand what God's plan is. You're still making the choice. You're still going to need to make the choice as to whether or not you're going to be happy. And then from there, that's where your faith kicks in and all that kind of stuff. That's why we're saying we're not knocking the faith. As a matter of fact, I find that extremely powerful.
Right.
But the choice is to be happy first, and then it rolls into the rest of the stuff.
Right.
If your choice is, oh, I'm just going to have faith, and I'll let God prove to me that I can be happy, then you're right. Now you're waiting for God to do His thing to your satisfaction. Okay, I mean
magic.
That's to your satisfaction, because that's always that's where the rub is, you know.
And the thing, I mean, it's like, you know, what makes you happy may not be what makes other people happy. Mm-hmm. You know, and I always love this, you know, when people would say to us before, aren't you happy? You know, like when we had Jeannie and you know, she was supposed to, I mean, according to the doctor, she should have been dead by the 18 months, mm-hmm. blind, profoundly retarded, you know, all this other stuff. And so she was 19 months. Aren't you happy? And then it's like, am I happy that she's not dead? Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I still have to contend with a child who's, you know, for the most part blind. And we knew she was intelligent. We just didn't know, you know, whether she'd be able to do anything other than, you know, talk and whatever. Mm-hmm. But it was always this thing, aren't you happy? Aren't you happy? Well, you know, there are certain things that back then specifically we just weren't ready for. And I think that we had so much emotional trauma that we really couldn't pull the happiness out of everything. You know, it's like, yes, we enjoyed things, we joked around, we did things like that, but it was very difficult to maintain the happy. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, even though we still have crap happening, you know, we definitely could maintain the happiness more than we did before.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, we make the choices.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, you know, certain things happen and then they throw you back in.
Mm-hmm. Of course. Right.
And, okay, what is this?
I don't know why our camera is doing this. So, sorry about that, folks. We'll have to look into the camera at some point. But yeah, it keeps... We're just going to say that it's not us. It's actually you, and you should get your eyes checked. Thank you.
Fuzzy
and clear. Yeah, because it's not like...
Do you have it on...
I haven't changed anything ever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So...
Anyway, shit, what was I saying?
I don't know. Anyhow.
Damn, what was I saying? It started not too long ago.
Yeah, I know, the fuzzy and clear thing. I don't know. Now, by way of the action part of the manifesto, we talk about being part of society, because that is one of those things that comes up a lot. We hear it a lot because it again goes back to the if you only knew, and how could you be happy when so and so is somewhere else is miserable. We're part of society, so we are not saying that by being happy you're stepping out of the world and you're turning your back on them. Yeah, no, we're not. Darn. Actually, we're doing just the opposite. You know, we are saying that you get in there with your happiness and you show people how to be happy.
Mm-hmm. And affect people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the things that we enjoy doing is like being in a group of people that don't know us and just being us. And sooner or later, you know, what we find is that people are laughing and whatever, and people aren't used to people like us.
Right.
We're kind of on the freaky side, you know, because we don't have the same conversation as other people. Mm-hmm. I don't know how else to put that. You know, when we were at a conference last month, by the end of the conference, people were like, "Oh my God, I've heard about you guys," or, you know, you guys have been like making the rounds here, and and they wanted to see if we were as different and as whatever. And I think that we didn't disappoint.
I think so.
Maybe the juggling helps.
Yeah.
I do the juggling. He could barely catch a ball.
Yeah, no. It's that whole left hand thing. I'm not good with that.
I am. I'm very good with my left hand.
Okay, one of them that I'm reading directly. Perfection is relative. Happiness is absolute.
Yes, explain that to me. I didn't understand that when I wrote it.
Okay. See, when we're talking about being in society, people think that by being that if anybody out there is miserable, is sad, etc., that everybody needs to be.
Right.
That's basically putting a perfection on the world.
Right. It's also the concept that we're all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, technically we're not, because we don't all have the same goal.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to leave, like if my kids have different goals than me, that I'm going to leave my kids in the crap and I'm going to go out there in the sunshine. Mm-hmm. It's the idea of starting the dialogue, of changing the way people see things. Mm-hmm. It's the complete definition of what a real life coach is about.
Right.
To go in there and coach them out of that misery. Mm-hmm. And you do what a coach does. You get in their face. You tell them, it's like, you know what, this is not a place for you to be.
Right.
And it's like, edgy, truthful, smart. Okay. I don't know what that means. It's saying, you don't deserve to live like this. Mm-hmm. You are worthy of a happy life. And I look at anybody and say that. Hell, I can even look at Charles Manson and say that. Yes, he is worthy of a happy life. Why? He's still alive. He did some horrible things.
It has nothing to do with what they have.
Right.
And, our goals with it. Have you ever seen the movie Gods Must Be Crazy? I love the movie.
It defined his life.
Yeah. They're showing an African tribe, and these people have, dirt and nothing hard. Sticks. I mean, nothing hard. That's kind of the point of the movie. But they're happy. Now, obviously, you drop me there, and probably not going to see the happy right away, Because
first, he'll be looking for Cheetos.
Yes, right.
And then Cheetos, a bottle of wine.
And probably won't have it there because they don't have bottles.
No.
It was sad.
A sack of wine.
A sack of wine, right. Maybe a sack of wine. Then I'd be happy.
Box of wine.
But see, that's the point there is that it puts the perfection and puts, it's this misguided concept of perfection and what's right. And that if I had something different, if they had something other than dirt, they would be happy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because everybody knows that dirt is the definition.
Yeah.
Yeah, this last week, we canceled last Friday's show because I had an allergic reaction to toothpaste. Isn't that fun? I had a little one before, and I, broke out around my mouth, and it was like very uncomfortable, but it wasn't a big deal. Damn, that drives me crazy. So anyway, why did it happen on Friday? Well, if you've ever read any of Louise Hay's stuff, Louise Hay is You Could Heal Your Life. She talks about the emotional and psychological reasoning for physical ailment. Basically, I broke out around my mouth. Obviously, something having to do with talking or whatever. My in-laws had been here since last Wednesday, and then Friday morning, all of a sudden I couldn't speak. My eyes were getting itchy and puffy and I couldn't see anymore. And obviously I didn't want to see things and I didn't want to be able to talk about something. So, the point that I'm making, I let my happiness for that brief time really be contingent on his parents' mood. And that was having a lot to do with the fact that I was all freaked out about them visiting. I don't know why, because the last time they visited wasn't that bad. Right. But I was sensing, the freakiness, and not wrong, because it wasn't as great as the last time. But I don't. About a minute left. Okay, but I don't know if that was me or if that was them. I'm going to say it was them.
Okay.
Because it's my happiness, damn it. Right. But the point is that I allowed something to zap my happy. Right. And I can't do that. And I'm not going to do that.
Exactly.
So, that's my point right there. So, we got a minute left. So, go out and read the Happiness Manifesto. If you agree with it, go and join the Facebook group. 1 million people who are committed to being happy. The idea is that we're going to continue that on the side, you know,
Right.
of our blog. The blog will continue to be about relationships, and then we're going to continue creating paths to happiness and maintaining that. I mean, not only for everybody, but for us ourselves. We're all in this together.
And we're going to model this.
Yes, I promise. You know, some of it is doing what we want to do.
Right.
So like today we are committed.
Saying goodbye.
No, we are committed that within the next couple months